The college football playoffs are here, and the first round, the first game of the first round, is going to be Friday night under the lights of Norman, Oklahoma. The Palace on the Prairie against a team that they've already faced off against and beaten already throughout this season, the Alabama Crimson Tide, heading their way over to Norman to try to get revenge on the Sooners for taking them down really the last two times that they've played. But Alabama definitely wanting a win here in Norman this time because it means much more. As they always say in the SEC, it always means more. But Jeremy, we've got an SEC matchup in the first round, Oklahoma against Alabama in Norman. It's going to be an electric atmosphere. It's going to be so much fun. I think this is for sure top two. I think no doubt, but I think this is the most exciting game of the playoffs, and it's going to be played at 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, Friday night under the lights at the Palace on the Prairie.
Dude, underneath the Friday night lights, I mean, that just says it all. I mean, just being able to play it at a night game, just in general, it's just already give you goosebumps. But having it at the Prairie, I mean, that is a unbelievable atmosphere. I mean, there's definitely a lot at stake. Obviously, look at the situation like you talk about for Brett Venables, like and Kalen DeBoer for Alabama. Like they started the season off facing pressure from their rabid fan bases, to say the least. I mean, like Oklahoma, like talking about them first, like Oklahoma has rebounded from a 6-7 season, and a win would solidify Venable's status while giving him a overall third win over Alabama in the last 13 months. I mean, Galen DeBoer already is in the shadow literally of Nick Saban. Like you think about it, I mean, the 6-time national champion coach, while obviously being replaced, like the Crimson Tide missed the playoffs last season. I mean, failing to win a playoff game in his first two seasons and losing to Oklahoma for the second time this season alone would really, really rile up a fan base that has lofty expectations. I mean, you know as much as I do, Josh. Obviously, both fan bases for Alabama and Oklahoma are second to none. They're always going to be backing up their team. Doesn't matter whether it be on the offensive side, defensive side, or even special teams. I mean, their fan base will be backing them up this entire way. But it's definitely going to be a really, really fun matchup, especially in the Prairie.
Yeah, I think this one is really interesting too because you even look at what Vegas has done. They've really flipped from Alabama being the 1.5 point favorite to now the home team, Oklahoma, being a 1.5 point favorite. 40.5 is your line. I mean, it's going to be a low scoring defensive battle. It's going to be a very gritty win, grimy win for either one of these teams, whoever comes out ahead. It's going to be crazy. But you look at Oklahoma going 10-2, like you said too, coming off of a 6-6, 6-7 season, including the bowl game last year, and then turning it around and completely flipping the script, going 4-2 in the SEC, and four incredible wins in the SEC. When you close out the
Mm-hmm.
stretch, they're having to go on the road to Knoxville, Tennessee, going to good old Rocky Top and topping them over, and then you roll the Tide in Tuscaloosa, and then you go on and beat a tough Missouri team at home, and then closing it out with LSU to close it out. And I know Taylor Wine from Oklahoma was talking earlier on in the season in a press conference about how he really feels like this doesn't feel like anything different because they feel like they've played in a playoff game for the last four games because they've gone against tough opponents and they couldn't win or they couldn't lose. Their backs were against the wall in all of those teams. And for Oklahoma, obviously the first time in Oklahoma history to have a home playoff game because that just really hasn't happened since until last year. But it's the first college football playoff appearance since 2019, back when Jalen Hurts was still at the helm for Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely insane, Josh. But I mean, like one thing, like I'm particularly looking at, like talking about these key matches between these two teams. Like I'll start off with Alabama first. Like you look at Alabama's quarterback, like for Ty Simpson, for especially for him, for example, like looking at him versus the Oklahoma pass rush. Like Oklahoma sacked Simpson not once, not twice, not three times, but four times in the first meeting. I mean, and the crazy even thing is that was without Mason Thomas. Like he's literally their team's top pass rusher.
Yeah.
Like Thomas is really, thankfully, obviously being back from injury. I can't remember what injury exactly it was, but obviously I know they're really thankful that he's back from injury. But normally he's really an effective passer. Obviously, like you struggled a little bit in recent weeks, like against the pressure. But I mean, it's not good against like an Oklahoma team that's led the nation in sacks and tackles for losses. I mean, that's definitely a really, really good thing to have, especially having it at Norman. And I mean, going on to more like key players to watch, I'm kind of watching about like Ryan Williams, for example, for Alabama. Like, he take it for granted, he has been kind of quiet a little bit lately, but I mean, he definitely is capable of breaking out and just absolutely making a big time play. Like, having 42 catches for 630 yards and 4 tutties this season alone. I mean, he hasn't had more than 3 catches over 45 yards in the past 4 games. Take it for granted for that, Josh. But I mean, like I said, the biggest thing is looking at what Alabama's Ty Simpson can bring against that tough Oklahoma pass rush. But I mean, what can you really expect for this game?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest storyline with this matchup. Oklahoma, one of the best pass rushes in the nation, leads the nation in sacks per game. Leads, I think, either leads or ties the nation, maybe second in the nation for tackles for loss. Nearly 10 tackles per loss per game. I mean,
Hmm.
it's an incredible defensive line alone. And like you said, R. Mason Thomas back from that, I believe, quad injury. It was something there, not hamstring, but it was something in his leg against Tennessee whenever he had the big scoop and score against Tennessee,
Yeah.
pulled it running it back. But then, so you haven't had R. Mason Thomas in. You didn't have him in that first matchup. He's going to be back for this game. And he's going to be playing with all his heart and playing lights out in this game. But
Definitely.
the thing with that too is you also have Jaden Jackson, who wasn't in that complete game
True.
at defensive tackle. And so you've got two guys on that defensive front coming back for Oklahoma that weren't against Alabama last time. And so what I'm curious about is how they shift to now try to protect Ty Simpson against R. Mason Thomas to leave something open, because even without R. Mason Thomas, Oklahoma was still able to get in the backfield plenty of times through those last
Yeah.
3 games without him. And so you look at that, and I think that's a huge matchup that you really have to look at. But for Alabama now, this is their ninth college football playoff record. They're 9 and
Mm.
5 in playoff games overall, where Oklahoma's 0 for 4 in playoff games. Now, all of those 4 games for Oklahoma and for Alabama, all of their 9 games were, their 9 appearances. So those were back in the 4 playoff days, or the 14 playoff days. But regardless, just very interesting. With this series, though, the interesting thing is that Oklahoma actually leads the series 5-2 in one tie. So that's one crazy thing. And of course, a lot of people are looking back to that rematch. They're looking at this as a rematch and looking back to that first matchup in Tuscaloosa back in November 15th. And so nearly a month later, and they're already playing each other one more time. No team has ever beaten Alabama twice in a single season. That's pretty crazy, and Oklahoma has a chance to do it here. But I really don't think you can get too much out of this game by looking back at the first game, Jeremy.
Yeah, you really can't get a whole bunch looking back out of the first game. But talking about Oklahoma going back to not going to that side of the ball, what I'm looking for key players, like I'm talking about, is John Mater. Like, he's a good dual threat quarterback who's made a lot of clutch plays this season. Like, he does tend to come up with a few timely plays per game, but sometimes forcing the ball sometimes can lead to an interception. I know one big thing that you always love talking about is TD interception ratios. But I mean, just in general for John Mater, just being able to just buy yourself some time, whether you have to roll out of the pocket or do whatever. Don't be afraid to throw it away, just because the last thing you want to do is just throw a costly interception at a wrong time, and then that could definitely come back and bite you. But I was gonna hopefully get that stat out before you did, but you definitely beat me to. I was gonna see if I can one up the Oklahoma guy, but I mean, it definitely is crazy to think that it would become the first program to beat Alabama twice in a single season, and like, if that does concur, I mean, Oklahoma definitely has had a heck of a season. They've already had a great season. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, that would just add on to everything. But I mean, talking about Oklahoma more a little bit, Oklahoma has won 4 of the last 5 meetings. I mean, having with Oklahoma wide receiver Isaiah Stagniga the third. I mean, he was a first team All ACC selection after catching 65 passes for 950 yards and 7 touchdowns for the regular season. Like, he's also another kind of player where he can do multiple things. Like he's also a dangerous punt returner. Like Oklahoma won the first meeting 23-21, obviously, in Tuscaloosa, like you mentioned. I mean, after Alabama lost the SEC title game in 28-7, excuse me, to Georgia. I mean, Oklahoma definitely has a lot to think about, especially being ranked fifth in the nationality for rushing yards, allowed points allowed per game, the ninth in total defense, and seventh overall points allowed. I mean, there's definitely a lot to put on the table, Josh. But I mean, Alabama beat Oklahoma 45-34 in the playoffs back in 2018. But I mean, that was 2018. This is 2025. I mean, there's definitely going to be a lot up at stake here, Josh. But I mean,
Well, and
Alabama, Oklahoma.
yeah, well, here's one thing that I've got for you in this matchup for Oklahoma specifically. Does offense win championships or does defense win championships?
Oh, defense always wins championships.
And so, whose defense do you really lean on the most? Do you lean on? I mean, well, let's start on the offensive side of the ball. Whose offense would you lean towards? Probably Alabama, right?
Yeah.
And then when you look at the defenses, though, which defense do you lean towards?
OU.
Oklahoma's just got a defense that just is incredible. I think that first matchup, a big reason, the biggest reason why Oklahoma won the first matchup was three turnovers, and one of them was on special teams, but two of
Mm-hmm.
them on defense, and one of those turnovers resulted in an 87-yard pick six from Eli Bowen. So
Yeah.
I think you look at this matchup and it's you can't look at the last matchup and expect that the defense is going to get three turnovers. But the fact that the defense plays that aggressive, that's where I really feel good about Oklahoma is because of their defense. And I think in any matchup, I look at any offense, and I think it's going to be really hard for any offense to go against an elite Brent Venables defense that just
Yeah.
flies all around the field. They can get in the backfield. They can sack your quarterback, put a lot of pressure on Ty Simpson. And let's be honest, Alabama has been extremely one-dimensional for most of the season, really all of this season. They're not going to all of a sudden find a run game. And so they lean on Ty Simpson. So with that being said, I think that pass rush, we were just talking about that a minute ago. I think that is the biggest factor in this game for Oklahoma to win the game. And of course, for Alabama as well, to be able to protect against that pass rush. Because as long as one team or the other, whoever wins in either getting back there to the quarterback for Oklahoma, or if Alabama is able to stop Oklahoma's pass rush, that is going to be the deciding factor in this game, I believe.
Oh, 100%. It's definitely going to be a big time deciding factor. I just really hope that Oklahoma can obviously keep bringing that firepower on the defense every single series, just because the biggest thing, as much as I do, you got to get those guys rotated at least a tiny bit, just because, or not even necessarily rotated, but just give them some time to breathe, just so that they at least have a good energy rush, just to try and get through the offensive line. Doesn't matter whether it be a pass play, run play, or whatever the case may be. But I mean, with how strong Oklahoma's defense has been this entire season, and obviously now transferring this over to what matters the most in the CFP. I mean, the regular season is one thing, but that's over with now. Now it's coming down to the time to where we don't got next week. We got this and we got next week. If not, we're going home. Like the last thing anybody obviously wants to see is attending to really, really tough, determined, strong, physical, defensive, powerful standpoint of a team. I mean, having, like I said, at your home place at down on the prairie. I mean, the last thing you want to see is having a 10-3 team that shouldn't even been in the playoffs, but we all know how it really is. Um, Come into your stadium and make you say goodbye. But I mean, Josh, like I said, between number 9 ranked Alabama, number 8 ranked Oklahoma, I mean, this is definitely going to be a real fun matchup, especially starting off at the beginning of the week for tonight. Honestly, I mean, it's going to be a grudge mask in my honest opinion, Josh. I don't know about you, but I think if I had to honestly say like a scoring kind of situation, I wouldn't be surprised if this comes down to maybe like a touchdown or maybe even like a 10-point game, just to kind of give. I'm not saying I'm giving Alabama some hope, but I mean, I know after how their last matchup went, I know Alabama will definitely be coming out with a little bit of vengeance after what happened the last game.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think that's the biggest thing that concerns me for Oklahoma is you've got not only the revenge factor of Alabama wanting to get revenge on Oklahoma for beating them earlier in the season, and then even
Yeah.
backing up to last year when they got their butts handed to them last year against a much far more inferior Oklahoma team last year. But you talk about the home field advantage too. When it comes down to Oklahoma's whole home field advantage, the Palace on the Prairie, rocking at a night game on Friday night, how much do you think that plays a factor in being a difference maker in this game?
In the words of our president, huge. I mean,
Huge.
huge.
YUGE.
No, it's definitely gonna play a big time factor, Josh. I mean, like, it's always one thing if you're on the road, like for Alabama's perspective, and you go in and you see the crowd being in like a 50-50 to where they can match it. I mean, don't get me wrong, Alabama will have a good fan base and they'll get some traveling, but I mean, when it just comes to OU football down on the prairie, it just hits different. I mean, I know I haven't seen it nowhere near as much as you have, but I mean, OU football doesn't matter whether it's under the lights or in the middle of the warm summer days. It just hits different.
Yeah, and I think the crowd factoring into this game too. The biggest thing in today's college football is you have the in-helmet communication. So
Yeah,
if you're the home team crowd, you can be allowed before they get the play in and disrupt that communication, or even once the quarterback gets the call in, excuse me, and he's trying to relay that to the rest of the team, you can disrupt that communication and really throw them off their pace. I
yeah.
think that's the biggest thing. But can Alabama fix, first of all, the turnover issues? Second of all, can they find a way to find some sort of balance in their run game to be able to defeat Oklahoma? And is Oklahoma, is their defense led team built to stop the Tide? Jeremy, what's your prediction here in this matchup? First round playoffs, first game of the first round in the playoffs. Oklahoma hosting Alabama. What you got?
This is definitely going to be a really, really fun one to say the least, Josh. I mean, like I said, starting off on the tail of the tape, I mean, you have two powerhouses going right from the get go. But overall, at the end of the day, OU has always a special place in my heart. So give me a Boomer sooner. But I mean, I think Alabama will keep it a little more closer than what I kind of expect. But like I said, if anything, give me a 28-21 or a 21-30 point game for OU.
You're going pretty high though. I don't think it's going to
Yeah.
be that high scoring of a game. I'm going to say I'm with you. I think Oklahoma gets the better of them. I just have a hard time overlooking this Oklahoma defense, and they're going to be more rested up. They're going to have R. Mason Thomas and Jaden Jackson in there that really didn't get to play, at least Jaden Jackson, for the whole game against Alabama the first go around.
Right.
And I look at this Oklahoma defense, and they're going to be suffocating. They're going to get back there and disrupt Ty Simpson. And what happened when he was disrupted against Georgia's pass rush, which I don't think is going to be as aggressive or as good as Oklahoma's pass rush, he freaked out. He panicked, and he wasn't able to
Yeah.
do anything. So I really think I lean on that. The closer I get to game time, and I'm a homer. I'm biased. You can call me out for that, but I really feel good about Oklahoma in this matchup. And then after this matchup, I also feel good about Oklahoma's chances. Going forward through the playoffs, the path that they have, and we've talked a little bit about that already. But yeah, I like Oklahoma. I'm leaning more Oklahoma, maybe 20-16. I could see it even being lower scoring, maybe a 16-10 type of game. Uh,
Wow.
but nothing would really surprise me in this game outside of maybe one of these teams scoring 30 points would surprise me. So that I mean, outside of that, nothing would really shock me in this game. I could see Alabama whooping Oklahoma 24-6. I could see Oklahoma whooping Alabama 24-6, and I could also see it being a 3-6 game. I just no matter what happens in this game, I don't think I'll be surprised. But I'm with you. I'm taking Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a really, really fun one, Josh. Like you said, having it Friday Night Lights down in the prairie. I mean, this is definitely going to be a game you do not want to miss.
No doubt. But, anyways, we are going to preview the rest of the games. Make sure to tune in on those. But Friday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Oklahoma takes on Alabama in the Palace on the Prairie. This is Rising to the Occasion. You can follow us on social media. Find everything we do at rising2.com. That's risingto.com. Check us out. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Of course, we appreciate you for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.